and welcome. My name is Irene Martinko. I am the Literary and Producing Associate with Perseverance Theater. And before I welcome the amazing curation team that led BAAM this year and last time we did it as well, I would like to just invite you to join Perseverance Theater in acknowledging that we reside on the unceded territories of the Occoquan, colonially known as Douglas and Juneau, Alaska. We also acknowledge that Tlingit peoples have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we are grateful for that stewardship and incredible care. We recognize the series of unjust actions that attempted to remove them from their land, which includes forced relocations and the burning of villages. We honor the relationships that exist between Tlingit peoples, their lands, their ancestors, and future generations. We aspire to work toward healing and liberation, recognizing our paths are intertwined in the complex histories of colonization in Alaska. We acknowledge that we arrived here by listening to the peoples, elders, lessons from the past, and these stories carry us as we weave a healthier world for future generations. We also invite you to join us in honoring and expressing deep gratitude to the Dena'ina people of South Central Alaska, where we also conduct our work in what is colonially known as Anchorage, Alaska. Join with us in finding ways to recognize, honor, and enact this acknowledgement in meaningful ways. For more than 10,000 years, Alaska Natives have been and continue to be integral to the well-being of Alaska. One cannot be without the other. To love Alaska and call it home requires honoring this truth. Alaska is and always has been a Native place. It is our responsibility to act accordingly. As a creative company, we are committed to learning from, meaningfully including, holding space for, and strengthening our work with Alaska Native peoples. We know their brilliance, vibrant languages, cultures, ways of life, and relationships with all aspects of their worlds bring knowledges and understandings we cannot know or access without their consent or partnership. We seek to build a right relationship with the Native peoples of Alaska because it will make our work better and because it is the right thing to do. Perseverance Theater honors and respects the culture, traditions, languages, and ways of life of the Alaska Native and all Native Indigenous ancestors, elders, and their descendants, past, present, and future. Ganashish, Hawa, Doyaksin, and Shinangali, thank you. And I will now bring in our fabulous creative team. We have MC MoHagani Magnetek, Alyssa Quintyne, Amable Rosa. They're awesome, and they're going to talk to you about BAAM. We're so excited. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome them on and hand it over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Irene. Wait, Irene left, and my face is all big. Okay, enough of that, MoHagani. I want to welcome you all to BAAM, Black Alaskan Arts Matter. This is our second exhibition, and we are really excited about this year's exhibition of Black Alaskan artists. I'm really thrown off with the screen all of a sudden. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Maybe Alyssa gonna say something. Yeah, okay. So let me get into this here. So we want to talk a little bit about what is BAAM. Like I said, this is our second year. Black Alaskan Arts Matter is an art exhibition that covers the state of Alaska. And this month, we have artists from Fairbanks, Juneau, Anchorage, and all over the place. Some of our artists are returning back for the second year. Most of our artists are like fresh artists. And so we have like fresh content, some really, really creative things. And so I want to just talk a little bit about our vision, what BAAM is, and we're just gonna have like a chat where you can meet us curators, myself, MC MoHagani Magnetek. Give it up for the wonderful, dynamic Alyssa Quintyne. Woo! And then there's Amable Rosa. Yo, was it Miss Coco Rosa go by sometimes? Anyways, yeah. So, and we're all like very experienced artists in the community and the different works that we do. Amable is a performing artist. Alyssa is a visual artist, and I'm a writer, poet. And like I said, this is exciting. This is our second year curating. I'm like really proud and honored to be here. And with that said, Visionary is to see, look ahead with imagination to create a future that works for us. Black Arts Matters has a vision that is cultivating, uplifting, and amplifying Black Alaskan artists, past, present, and future. With this vision, we ask ourselves, what do we want? How do we take care of ourselves, have the ability, the resources, the respect, and the safety to create? Before BAM, before Black Alaskan Arts Matter, there was no seat at the table for Black artists in Alaska. No doors open, no platforms, and no mics that may have reached out throughout the state from Fairbanks to Anchorage to Juneau. So, as curators teamed up with the Perseverance Regional Theater and built our own table with lots of seats for our family of Black artists and our dinner guests who want to know and experience BAM. This year, year two, we have a year behind us now. That's Alyssa, Amable, and I are more experienced curators. The selected artists are diverse in artistic mediums and are excited to see themselves in this exhibition. Their works are being respected and appreciated as fine art, which is often very difficult for Black creatives. And many of our artists this year have responded to the theme by making note of coping with mental illness, government neglect through the pandemic, violence and racial oppression, while tokenizing our existence as the saviors of this country, which are evident in their creations. These are themes that you're going to see that plays out in the work that the artists are presenting this year. As curators, we would like for our collective efforts in this year's BAM exhibition to inspire others throughout Alaska and the world to pay closer attention because Black Alaskan arts matter. Though visionary is typically beyond the present, part of that visioning to responding to what is in front of us presently so that we can imagine the future. It gives us a reason to vision, to plan, and create. This year's exhibition is a moment of solidarity because we agreed that being visionary is though being vulnerable in a world that wants to destroy us all. So we would like to welcome you all to, Black Alaskan Arts Matter. BAM, we back here, Black History Month 2022. And I just want to thank you for your time. And Alyssa, Amable.
Yeah, well, I am, Alyssa. I am here on Chena Dene lands and Laura Tanana peoples here in Tanana, which is otherwise known as Fairbanks. And I am just very grateful and very humbled and excited to be able to be a part of this team and to really hold this platform and really lead into the stewardship to really looking towards how we as creatives, but community members and leaders, really show not just our own community, but others that are watching what it really looks like to honor and support and celebrate Black creatives across the state in a way that, transcends, kind of customary and typical fine art lines and protocols and procedures. But, as MoHagani said, building our own table with our own wood, our own tools, our own nails that really fit for what we as creatives know is the sturdiest for us and what's going to work for us. So I am really just really I'm happy to see that the impact of this exhibition has grown. We, even though we have had some returning artists, we have also had some new artists. We have really young artists, we have old, we have elders, and so to me that really expresses that the impact of this work is growing and that it is necessary and that it is, serving our community back, because if folks didn't want this, they wouldn't apply, they wouldn't do anything with it. They wouldn't be asking us, throughout the year, are you going to do BAM again? Are you going to do BAM again? So, it just proves that this is something that is needed. And my hope is that, our leaders in the community, other curators in galleries and art houses are really paying attention, because often we are asked, throughout the year, how do they do better in terms of making their spaces and their events more diverse. And here we are doing this work. So I hope they are taking notes.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Amable Rosa, one of the lovely curators. I reside in Anchorage. That's the Nina land of the indigenous people of this state. Um, I was really excited that we were bringing BAAM back right after the first successful one. Um, and I'm glad that this year we kind of put a theme to it, exactly how MoHagani and Alyssa were adding on, is that like, what did, how did we see BAAM fit after 2 years of being in a pandemic, going on three, and how could we, as visionaries, create a platform that was themed but not too challenging, um, but also going to inspire other artists um, to apply for the next one that we do, for the next exhibition that we do. Um, and I think we came up with an amazing theme. I think we got a really great outcome. Better than we did last time, the first time around, correct? Yeah. So and it shows. And we still have people asking about it, wanting to submit. And I love the eagerness and the opportunity that it builds for artists like each one of us in Alaska.
Yeah, just to add on to what Amable is saying, about the submissions, we received more this year than we did last year, which is like really wonderful. And we look forward to having even more submissions next year. We hope that these artists out there make us do more work as curators in a sense, because like we want and we do give artists, Black artists, an opportunity that normally isn't there. We've had quite a bit of discussion over the past few weeks about, as we are as artists, you want to apply, be a part of these exhibitions and stuff, but the doors are constantly closed to us. Our applications are just tossed away in file 13 in the trash, never looked at. And I know as a writer, even when my name is not there for these contacts, for these writing contests, because sometimes you gotta like not put your name on there, but you can hear my Black voice coming through in the writing. And if you don't have like people out there that are willing to put Black artists on and like really like listen to our voices, they see our words, they see that we come from this totally different cultural, non-European background, and we bring this to art into our text. It's like, oh yeah, we don't want that, and we're often dismissed and disheartened. So many artists, Black artists here in Alaska, have hard time, very difficult time just getting started. And many of our artists that we have this year have said to me, like, this is their first time being in the art show, or even feeling like what they do as creative is art. And it is. So we're doing the work of developing, cultivating, nurturing, and the Black artists that we have coming to us. And we look forward to doing some more wonderful things and creating more opportunities for Black artists in Alaska.
And I'll take the mic here. I think a lot of questions that I get about the exhibition is really about us and why we have decided to sort of take this role as curators and not participants or, facilitators or, whatever else goes into, an exhibition process. And I think for me, the reason why I definitely choose again to be a curator is really opening up the opportunity for other Black creatives in the state to have the opportunities that I've had, as a visual artist. Especially in such a small town, you kind of learn to be scrappy and resourceful. You're always doing the first Fridays, you're doing the grind and shine, but there's really not opportunities to be interactive. There's really not a lot of opportunities to give back. And so for me, as a person that, can, it usually gets called to do a First Friday like last minute because they know, oh, well, she's experienced, she knows how to do this, she draws a crowd. I feel that for me, even though, my path I think will continue on, that I've had a lot of the opportunities where a lot of emerging artists haven't. And so what am I doing to not only advance as an artist myself, but also to bring people with me along that journey? What am I doing to teach others and be collaborative and to give them the same sort of platform and pedestal that I've been given sometimes? And to me, curation is a really good door into that because it gives me the experience that a lot of artists don't really get because they're so busy, and we're kind of forced to be so busy to get curated into a show, but never the other way around. And knowing that there is an ally at that table that's, going through your portfolio, with a magnifying glass, to have somebody that can understand what you're saying and what you're drawing and what you're sharing with us, I think is really, really important. That's me, not the rest of you.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have put it better. I think another part of it is building community where there's, not very much hope for artists, aside from opportunity, is just being able to network with these artists that don't even realize that are artists. I mean, we've had artists ask, like, is this art? And I'm like, if you created it, it's art. So, yeah, we would love for you to submit something. We would love to see more of you. We want to encourage you to do more and, to inspire people who are going to look up to you the way you look up to us, the way we looked up to others. It's generational. We want to continue on inspiring people to keep creating, specifically Black artists in Alaska, to give them hope, to have them understand, that they are extremely talented and hold so much power. So I feel like that was a big thing about the curation between the three of us, is how we're building a community, how we are inspiring others to create and keep thriving to create, because it can be difficult sometimes, as we all know. We get a mental fog, and even with us curating, there comes times where we kind of get stuck in a fog, and it can be difficult. So
Yeah, and I add on that, yeah, for many of us who are doing this and you know getting ourselves out there as artists, and like many of these artists, like, well, I've never been in an art show before, and so sometimes our artists, are not equipped or have the know-how to put an artist bio together, how to submit, their work, in a certain way, and but those are things that we work on. We're not like these other organizations in the state that are mostly like European organizations and stuff that's looking for these applications that has the perfect King's English on there. We don't speak that, and we have our own tones and our own rhythms and our own ways of thinking and knowing. And so it helps, and it helps to that we're able to recognize the creativeness. We're able to recognize the artistry in these artists and like pull them out. Come on, and get involved in this. And yeah. So how about we talk a little bit about some of the artists that we have? Mable, Alyssa, who you most excited for? If that's the way to say it.
Well, I don't want to do any spoilers. If you haven't gone to the website yet, you should immediately. I was really surprised at just how many performance creatives applied this year. We got a lot of them. And I think in my own taste, I love a good music video. I love a good music video that is that relates to the song. And so the the two artists that I'm kind of digging that I'm like, yeah, those were really good. And that you should watch. Also as well is Dante Robinson. He has a whole album that's available on YouTube, along with music videos that I adore. And I think let me see here, everything's loading for me, so of course I'm not going to remember. But the second performing artist that has some music videos is Nicole Lee. And they have their stuff on SoundCloud and his YouTube as well. And their music videos have a lot of anime references. And I'm a huge anime nerd. So there's like instant connection. I have no idea who this girl is. But we're friends now because that's how that works. So yeah, I think that that's one thing that's really different this year is being able to share more performances with you all. And so those are the two that are really bubbling up for me. And then I'm really excited to see some more of their stuff later on. So of course, stay tuned and you may see one of them performing, but I won't ruin anything for you.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that that many like performance artists applied as well. But I'm glad that they did because these are all colleagues of mine. Like these are all peers of mine that I'm friends with, and I'm glad that they were able to, show a lot more people their art and get more outreach. I was actually kind of impressed by, I think her name was Antavia. I hope I'm pronouncing that. Antavia Hamilton. She made like the dolls, which if you haven't seen them, they're actually very interesting. They're really cute. They're like, I think, what does she call them? Hoodoo dolls? I'm not sure. I think it's hoodoos, right? But they're like so cute and they like kind of depict like a very Black aesthetically pleasing doll and like a scene when you go into the exhibit. And I think that was like one that was not necessarily, I don't want to say surprised, but I was like impressed. That caught my eye. I was like, oh, I like that. I like that very much.
I'm really excited about Antavia's work too. And she's one of my friends, like my high school friends, in a long time. And I don't know, maybe like it's been a few years. You would see her. She like have her dolls, and she's like posting it. She just like initially it was like just like one doll. You would see like doing some things, having some cup, having some tea. But in the last year, that doll got a whole like home apartment, and it's like detail. Like you can see what cereal is being eaten. You can see who the leftovers from last night, and now she has guests and friends that comes over and hangs out. But what's more fascinating is that it's a multimedia thing because you're not just talking about creating this set. I mean, these dolls are from scratch. You build them all together. Then you set the scene. But then there's the photography aspect of it too. Her photographing this miniature photography that's just like really, really exciting. So I'm like really excited about her work, and I never forget like when we was looking for artists and stuff, and I saw one of her posts, and the doll was like still, and all of a sudden his eye blinked. I was like, oh snap! I wasn't ready because it didn't come across to read like it was a video or whatever, but it was a surprise. I'm very excited for Desmond David Pitts. I think that's the only poet that we have here. I'm excited for this young person, this child of mine, pretty much. Desmond calls me mom, and I'm proud to be a mother figure to Desmond. And I'm just like thankful that we have some poets and poetry in here. Another thing I would like to mention is that we have an 8-year-old, right? What was the 8-year-old's name? I was looking for the name. Alyssa was talking about the 8-year-old earlier.
I was talking about the 8-year-old. Their name is Jamarcus, and I believe they are down in Anchorage, and they're a photographer. And so visionary to them was being able to go outside and being able to look at, at the world around him in a different way that calms him from, how we're usually made to look through the world and just get through the day. This was his opportunity to just sort of chill out and calm down and take different perspectives, which I thought was really, really cool. And even cooler that, our exhibition and theme was relevant to an 8-year-old, because I don't know what an 8-year-old does with their time, like whatever 8-year-olds do. And the fact that this seemed interesting enough, I'm really honored that and happy that we're able to highlight his work, because like he's a really good photographer. And like I said, don't take my word for it, just go on the exhibition and look yourself. So again, it really just speaks to the impact of this work, and that we can start them young, that we can really instill the craft of, investing into yourself, seeing yourself and valuing yourself as a creative young, which I know many of us struggled with when we were 8 years old. So I'm happy that we get to snag this one and be like, you don't listen to anybody except the artist in your head. You are an artist and you are special and you are lovely and you will take pictures and you will be the best. So, because
Yeah,
that's what we need.
I know that's pretty cool, and to know that BAM is not like we don't have a children's a youth art exhibit, and it's open, and so that our artists are getting this feeling, especially when we were able to move back into like physical spaces, to have this experience of like being treated as a legitimate artist, with an art opening and with talks or whatever. I can't wait till we have the the in-person things that we be getting our wine and cheese on, but it probably non-alcoholic because we have some children there, but it's still gonna be nice, what I'm saying? I'll sit there and drink a little non-alcoholic, grape juice or whatever, and call it day. It's good times. But those are things that we can definitely look forward to. And in BAM, so other than we're talking about just black folks, but we're talking all kinds of black folks. We're talking about young people. We have like some elders that are part of this, and we're gonna have some good conversations later on this month with Cal Williams and get into talking about the history of black arts in Alaska. We have so many like queer members of the queer LGBTQ plus community that are involved, that are contributing artists. And speaking of Antavia Hamilton, her sister's in the exhibit too, Shayla. So that's like, it's a family affair, right? So this is good stuff, and really excited about this all. Amable, if you don't mind, would you talk a little bit about AJ?
Absolutely. Sorry. Yeah, AJ was a good friend of mine, a really good colleague. We're really close. And he submitted to BAM the first time we came around. And he was someone that was kind of nervous about submitting, who also was like, am I able to even submit anything else? Like, you create entertainment and you create art for people to consume. So yeah, that's, and it was like a point of a topic for us for a couple weeks there, because we had to figure out, we're like, is this art that we can actually include in our exhibit? And it ended up being something that we were able to include, and it was something that he was very proud of, very happy. And now, in the world that we live in, where social media and content creating is so prevalent and so like relatable, it's like we're seeing the takeoff of like TikTok and Reels on Instagram and videos and content creation on Facebook, and even more apps that we probably don't even know are in the making, for consumers and an audience to consume virtually. Um, and unfortunately, AJ has passed away almost about a year from now. I think next week or week after. And he was a light to me and my friends and everyone that he really touched, anyone that he was around. And, we're honored that we were able to exhibit such artistry in our exhibit the first time we came around. And, he lives on through his art, and we're very happy and glad that we're able to, archive that and honor him through his artistry.
Right on. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I never, well, I never got to meet AJ in person, but I was really, really, really thankful to have AJ a part of this. And going into the second year, we was like, well, we have one of our own that has passed away, and we want to honor and shine some light on AJ Colden and his work, and honor him this month too. And that's the thing, with what we're doing. We are archiving our history of arts in Alaska. And we'll get into this like later in the month in some more conversations. But just the idea that this is our second year, right? We've already made history, right? That we can reference from here on out, and continue to build this catalog, this archive of Black arts in Alaska. And as we continue to expand and grow and meet other artists out there that we have not been able to tap into in terms of as a BAM, and hopefully bring them in the folds, and expand on this more, and just a good thing. Something else I also mentioned, we talk about a family affair. So we have another artist on Jamarcus. That's the kid, right? The 8-year-old. Is that right? Yeah. Jamarcus is the nephew of Tina Bell. So that's just really cool. I would love to be in an art show with my mom or my brothers. That would be really cool. But yeah, so I've said a lot of ums and yes.
Well, that's okay. We'll give you a break. I actually got a question from one of my friends, who has been sort of trying and perusing to get into the art world, and their question to me was, why BAM? And kind of to give more context into this, they say there are a couple of organizations around the state of Alaska that have focused on trying to highlight Black voices and Black creators. There's the Black in Alaska project that had a couple of partners throughout the state and had just launched their website. I think it was last week. There's the Black Lives in Alaska, exhibit in Anchorage Museum. And so what niche does BAM fill, and why is it important for us to center Black artists in Alaska and not people of color in Alaska? Who wants to take that one?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is a loaded question, but I think it's also an easy question, an obvious question, right? And I actually, every year without fail, it's Black History Month, right? Every year without fail, someone's gonna say, "How come there's no White History Month?" Right? Someone always asks that question. Well, what the society, the world we live in, the history, the culture of America, whatever. White History Month is like every month, every day, and we're like, scratching just to stay afloat in this thing, and and we reiterate that these opportunities that are there. There's a wonderful exhibit in the museum, the Black Folks in Alaska Museum. I think that's the correct title of it. However, it's a museum exhibition, and it's about to go away. It's been up for almost a full year or so. So, and like exhibits in the museum, they come and they go. Will we see another Black Folks in Alaska anytime soon? Don't know. We'll be here. The other thing to note about that is a history, more so a history exhibition, and it's not art. Well, and then we talk about specifically like Black artists, Black creators in Alaska, because it's sad, right? The range of the arts that are supported here in Alaska. It's like Alaskan natives or whatever, and then it's just like white folks, and it's like we're everybody else here. We just get like lost in the shuffle and everything, and So that's what we want to do. We're not what we want to do, what we are doing. We're feeling that void. We're feeling that space, and we're feeling it like full with like love, energy, creativity, positivity. That's what we're doing, and you can't match that. You can't match that, and that's why it's BAAM. You know, like in your face. Black Alaskan Arts Matter. Our arts matter. Our creative processes matter, and the fact that we also amplify our artists. Many of our artists have their Cash App, their Venmo information on there. So if you want to shoot them a few dollars, or reach in touch, contact them about commissioning artwork, please do so. Please do so, because unlike other folks, we don't have luxury of just making art for the sake of art. And of course, now naturally have to say it, we're not painting watercolor moose. I think that should be the next theme or whatever, because Alyssa nailed that last year. It's still the talk of the town. I went to Juno.
You did not have to bring that back.
We're not gonna bring it back, Mahogany. We'll just leave it there. Leave it there.
But the analogy what she was speaking on is that these European folks or whatever and stuff just have all time to just spend time with these watercolors and everything, and they're creating the content about nature and environment, which it has its own place or whatever. Yeah, cool. But we don't have that luxury of just making art for the sake of art. It's like gotta make some money for us. It's gotta earn a living. So and in that, sometimes we lose the fact that we are still creating art, and it's not just like work. And so that's another void we're feeling. We're bridging. We're letting our artists know. We're letting Alaska know. We're letting the world know that Black artists, Black creatives are artists as well too. Amable, what you got?
I mean, like, you pretty much just touched upon it. It's just like when someone says why, I'm like, why not? Literally, like, why not? Why do you think that we should not have an exhibit full of Black? Because it's discrimination. I'm like, is it? Because it's racist, is it? Sit with it. Think about it. Exactly what Mahogany said. Every day is white history. Every day is just normal, regular history. But so often Black people are disregarded, and everyone else feels uncomfortable when it comes to talking about Black history. And then that topic of, well, you guys have a Black History Month. And I'm like, yeah, not only is it Black History Month, but you guys only give us a month to be able to celebrate and speak about and talk about that history where there's history, there are Black people. Where there is history, there are Black people that are either oppressed, there are Black people that have either inspired and have added onto that history, and there are successful Black stories that can be talked about. So you can't talk about history without talking about the Black folks that were involved. But they're never going to admit that, and they're going to be disregarded, and they're going to be like, well, of course Black people are going to be involved. Well, that's never mentioned and never represented. So my short answer, why not? Why can't we have one collective for Black folks? And even outside of Black History Month, it should be more frequent. It should be more of an occurrence. It should be more often, because there is not representation. There isn't enough platforms. There isn't enough space taken up by Black folks, because we have been oppressed, and we have been haven't had that privilege to be able to have that. It hasn't been easily accessible for us. And even when it has been, we have to work twice as hard for the opportunity. So why not?
Yeah. Right on. Great answer. Y'all, this has been a wonderful evening. I'm just, y'all understand, like, Amable and Alyssa, like, they're my hearts. Like, we're like friends now. Like, for real. I got a sticker from Alyssa, and I saw her like over the summer and stuff. And me and Amable run each other sometimes. I think last time I saw Amable was in the parking lot at Walgreens. Amable was like, yo, Mo, I'm out. I'm going to LA. I'm out. I was like, oh, okay. But it's good stuff. And we're a team. And we're grateful. We are very grateful to the Perseverance Theater and the work that they've done and helping facilitate and make this happen. When we talk about like allyship and what that means and support, other than just us Black folks doing our own thing, we have some strong allies. And the Perseverance Theater, Irene, our online DJ this evening, tech person or whatever, just been instrumental in keeping us in shape. And Leslie Ishii, the director of the Perseverance Theater, just always so much wonderful guidance for us and helping us put this together. And we're just truly, truly grateful and thankful. We are grateful for another second year. BAM, the theme this year is visionary, and you're going to see a lot of wonderful visions, like how we see ourselves in the future, in the present, and what that will be. And we hope that you enjoy this. Go to the website, follow it on what's this place? Facebook, right? And the Perseverance Facebook page. Follow Alyssa Amable, and I will, be tagging, making posts and everything like this. But you can come back and watch this video later. Our next event is next. I don't have a calendar. It's next week. I think Thursday, Friday. No, Friday. Anybody know? Next Friday. Thank you. Next Friday is our next event, and we'll be the performing artists will be having a talk then. I think that's what's on the slate. So all month long we'll have these talks coming to you, and we're gonna come back to y'all at the end of the month to wrap this up and close out BAM. But we want to thank you all for your time. Check out the website. Check out our artists. We have Colin Sample and Tavia Hamilton, Dante Robertson, Danae Demore, Sequoia Hayes, Tina Bell, Trishawn Mathis, Jamarcus Tran, Santana Harris, Desmond David Pitts, Shelby Baldwin, Shayla Yurvich, and Javon Brigham. Yeah, it's on and popping, so like popcorn, and it's good stuff. And we thank you all. And Alyssa, Amable, you want to say anything before we close out here?
Yeah, sure. Anyone that's listening and anyone that's going to watch, I encourage you to take this month to listen. I encourage you to take this month to go the extra mile. If you think you're being supportive of Black artists or Black folks, try harder. Take more of an initiative, have more energy, because I can promise you, you're probably not doing enough. And that's no tea, no shade, but there's so much more ways of being supportive. Show up to these events where Black artists are going to be at. Show up to these virtual discussions where Black folks are talking, and try not to center yourself as a non-Black person. And I mean that in the best and most possible way, because this is the one month that people are like, I'm going to back up and give space, when it should be at all times. When people have been oppressed as they have been for so long, this is, a moment for you to unlearn a lot of things that you've been taught, relearn a lot of things that you didn't know that were true, and just listen to what people are telling you, and allow people to take up that space that haven't had that privilege that they have before.
And I think to add on to that, I get this question all the time of how to be a good ally to whatever community. And I think the simplest answer I can get is to immerse yourself in that very community, especially as a guest. And, it's like you don't always have to understand everything that you hear or see or experience, but you can be immersed and participate. This is a really good time to read Black books and buy Black art and fill your space with the very community that you want to serve, that you want to support, because that's how we learn. We're not born into this world being the greatest people. That's a skill. And so what can we do to not only uplift, but also to recognize not only ourselves, But the lessons that we want to learn and pass down in each other, and the best way we do that is by immersing ourselves with the very people that we may not understand that well. So I really do hope that you take that time to immerse yourself in our exhibition, to talk to some artists that, you know, kind of spark your interest, see if they have any prints or any canvases available, if they've got their music on Spotify or iTunes, or if you can give their channels a follow on Instagram or YouTube. This is an excellent time to not only show that financial support, but communal support and love and gratitude. So thank you.